everybody, and welcome to the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas. Thank you so much for joining us today. We've got an epic show ahead, but just remember, if any of you have experiences you'd like to share, I'd love to hear from you. You can either email me at paranormalportalradio@gmail.com or head over to paranormalportal.net and scroll down and find the button that says Interview Me, and that'll allow you to look at a calendar of possible times and dates and find a date that works for you. Love to hear your stories, so definitely get in touch with me. Hey everybody, and welcome to the Paranormal Portal. Thank you so much for tuning in, and special thanks for all the love and support. Hope you guys will continue to recommend the shows to people that you know that are into the paranormal. I got a special show for you guys today. If you remember, not too long ago, I interviewed Krista from the Blondes and the Booze podcast and YouTube channel. And we had a great discussion. It was a 2-part episode. And I also, soon after, interviewed Brandi, who is the co-host, the second part of the Blondes and the Booze podcast and YouTube channel. And this is that interview. Brandi and I have a great discussion about her investigations, about her sensitivity. She has some psychic sensitivities and can hear spirits and such. And we have a fantastic discussion about all the weirdness that makes up her world. So I hope you guys will kick back and relax and enjoy the show. This will be a 2-part episode as well. This is part 1, and watch later this week for part 2 of this interview, which will be coming up in the coming days. So kick back, relax, grab a libation of your choice, or if you're driving, just keep your eyes on the road. But hope you enjoy the show. We are welcoming a special guest to the show. She's been actually quite a wonderful friend that I've gotten to know in the last several months. And I've appeared on many shows with her, alongside of her. And I brought her here because, my God, you guys should know about her. So, as you may remember, on Wednesday night, we had Krista of the Blondes and the Booze here. And just a few days later, I roped Brandi into coming in. So we are welcoming Brandi to the show from Blondes and Booze. And again, that is a YouTube channel and a podcast on all the platforms. So if you haven't heard of them, you should hear from them, and you should tune into them. I'm just tripping all over my tongue here, but it's a wonderful, wonderful group of people. Krista and Brandi are wonderful, and tonight we get to put Brandi on the hot seat and talk to her about her experiences, her insights, things that she's been through, and her journey into the worlds of the strange and unusual. But without further ado, let's get to our guest, the wonderful and lovely Brandi from the Blondes and the Booze. How you doing, Brandi? Welcome to the show.
Oh, I'm glad to be here. I'm seeing a lot of familiar faces in the chat. It's awesome to see them and all these new people. I'm excited.
That's the neat thing. Since I've been in your network of shows for a while, and it was very familiar for me as well when I came over there. And I would see these same faces, or many of the same faces that I see every night doing the portal. So it was really cool that, obviously our viewers and listeners have great taste, is all I'm saying.
Absolutely. Got the best, people watching our shows in the world.
I'm telling you, this chat is just amazing. And I know, having been on both shows, that we are absolutely very blessed with the quality of the people that come and watch our shows. They are so thoughtful, and they've made these shows their home, which is just amazing,
Oh, I know. It's just like they're more like family,
Yes.
you know. As on our show, we do discuss, what's going on in our families when things are going good or when they're going bad, and
Yeah.
it's just nice to have that extra support.
Yeah, it really is. So how long? I never did ask Krista this, but how long has Blondes and Booze been going on?
Well, they started like COVID,
Oh, okay.
right there at COVID.
2020.
And it was her and another person, her name was Erin Eck, and they were doing it. And then after COVID, they kind of started having me on, and then they're like, okay, why don't you just join? So then there was three blondes.
Oh,
And
nice.
right. And then unfortunately, things happened in life for Erin. And so she had to move on and go on to bigger and better things.
Sure.
And Chris and I just kept going on since 2000. Oh my gosh, 22,
Oh,
2022. I think it's 2022, like
good.
early 2022.
So let me ask you, when you decided to kind of dive into this, had you ever before thought, hey, I should have a show and be on a show, or did it just kind of land in your lap like serendipity?
Well, it just kind of landed in my lap. I thought, I was so nervous for the very first show, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I don't want to do this, but I can do it. I can really do this. I can talk about the things that interest me and intrigue me, and things that I love. It's going to be okay.
Hmm.
And then they made me feel like I was at home, and I'm sitting around the kitchen table, drinking my coffee, and just having a conversation. And it just spawned from there, and I never looked back from there. Absolutely not.
That's really cool. Now for this was my experience, but I got to ask you, when you started, did or as you progressed in these shows and started looking into the phenomena and hearing from people, did your understanding of the phenomena just explode and be like, oh my God, like, did it reshape how you look at these phenomena, or has it not so much?
Well, I've learned a lot,
Yeah.
and I'm still learning every day. Because as we know, no experts in this field or any other field, when it comes to the paranormal, supernatural, cryptid, nobody is an expert.
Yeah.
Now, there may be somebody who may know a little bit more, but I would not classify anybody as an expert, really. But I am learning about different techniques to use when I'm investigating, either out in the woods or a haunted hospital, or it's just a constant learning, and hearing about stories from other people that are quite similar to mine
Hmm.
is, again, that support system. So you kind of feel like you're not crazy, because sometimes you feel like you're crazy when these things are happening and you're by yourself, and then you get to talking on these shows, and then everybody's like, well, yeah, that happened to me and blah blah blah, and I'm like, oh good, thank goodness. I'm good. I'm not crazy. I'm
Yeah.
okay.
No, it's very true though, because when I started, I was like, yeah, I know about this stuff. I'm okay. I got this. And then I realized I don't know anything. I thought I knew stuff, but I realized I don't know anything.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. The thing about it is that the paranormal has been happening in my life since I was very young,
Hmm.
even in memories that I can't even remember. I've had the stories from my mother telling me how these things were happening when I was young,
Oh.
and so my life growing up was very normal
Hmm.
with the paranormal. Normal
Oh,
with the paranormal. Yeah, that's a good one.
that is.
Um, and so I never thought that I was like different.
Okay.
Never thought I was different until, you reach that middle school age, and then it was like all the other kids are talking about this and they're talking about that. And I'm like at school, and then you see like this black mist roll by, and you're like, did you see that? See what? Oh, nothing. Nothing.
Yeah.
Just nothing. And I didn't have anybody in school with me that could see and hear these things like I did.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
it was either that or they were blocking them out. I don't know which. I mean, I had a couple friends who would discuss them with me,
Hmm.
but not really deeply. It was just kind of in passing, like, oh, it must have been a ghost or, whatever. But now that I'm older and I've seen a lot of things and done a lot of things, it's now I don't care what people think.
Right.
I know what I've seen. I know what happened, and you can't tell me any different. So now it's just kind of like, I don't know what you would say. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care if you think I'm weird. That's it.
Yeah. No, I like that. It took me a long time to get to that place too, where it was like, I think we probably all in our formative years, we're kind of on a stage of sorts, and we're always trying to build this character and develop this persona for people to absorb and to hopefully respect. But yeah, I mean, I came to the same conclusion. It's like, what the hell am I doing? I mean, it doesn't matter what these people think. Do I like me?
Right.
And that's when I did the same thing. I was just like, yeah, I'm done worrying about other people.
Right. Right. I mean, there are so many things happening around that I think that people are kind of blinded.
Yeah.
And they don't want to see them, so they don't. They don't want to acknowledge these things are happening. And the more I open myself up to it, the better I feel.
Yes.
It's really enlightening. It really is. It really is. And I like to travel all over the place and test out my theories, my little experiments, and things just to push that limit, just to see if I can find maybe just a sliver of an answer that I'm looking for my truth.
Yeah.
Because everybody's truth is different, that everybody's seeking something different. But my truth, I'm always just pushing that envelope just a little bit more to see what I can find.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think you've done, if as I've listened to you during the shows and stuff, you have this incredible insight. You're obviously a very well-grounded person, in a manner of speaking, at least in my opinion. Not that I'm a great judge of character all the time, but I've enjoyed listening to you and Krista talk about this stuff and your reflections on it. You both come from a very down-to-earth place with it. It's not all this, I don't know, super fantastical, bizarre interpretations or interpolations of the phenomena. You guys are just coming at it head on, and I really do respect that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we've talked about this or somewhere along the line, but the TV shows and sensationalize all of these things that are happening, and they make a big deal out of it and blah, blah, blah. But when you have things like this happening on a daily basis,
yeah,
they're not that, special, I guess. They're not that special.
Yeah.
Because I can see and hear them everywhere. I've talked about this many times before about being in Walmart. Walmart is like one of the worst places because there are so many different people in there, and they carry a lot with them. They just don't realize that they have these people following them that just aren't visible.
Yeah. Huh.
And I can hear them talking, and I can hear them walking, and there may not be anybody around me, and I'll still hear it. And it's like I don't know how to explain it. It's not like if somebody is, a couple aisles over and you hear them talking. No, this is like they're right behind you talking.
Really?
It's like somebody right up on you talking to you, and I can hear that. A lot of people who are very sensitive kind of shrug that off.
Mm-hmm.
And they're thinking, oh gosh, I'm just hearing stuff, whatever. I don't know what that was. And I'm like, no, Walmart's really bad. Walmart's horrible.
Well, sometimes,
and
go ahead. No, I'll go. Yeah, please.
I was just going to say, and sometimes it's just unbearable that I just don't want to go in there.
Yeah. It's funny that you say that though. And I've never really I've never been really able to articulate why. And, but I don't like going to Walmart. There's just like, and it's not because I don't like saving money or I have something against the store. It's just that there's some places you go where there doesn't feel like there's much joy. And I don't know what it is about Walmart,
Yes.
but it's like it sucks the light out of people.
Yes.
Okay.
I can go to Target and feel totally different, and it doesn't matter what Target.
Yeah.
But then again, on the flip side, I can go to any Walmart and feel that exact same thing.
Yes. Yes. And I've been at several as I've been driving, traveling or, going to different conferences in the area. It's like sometimes you stop at Walmart because you can find what you need, but I still dread it because it's like, God, I got to go in there and deal with this. And I end up going to Walmart all the time, but it's a chore for me on an emotional or spiritual level. And I never really knew why, but now that you say that, it's like, maybe that makes sense.
Right, right. It's just I think it's a vibration or a frequency
Yeah.
that is just not gelling with a lot of people. Many people say, "Hey, I avoid Walmart like the plague," and I'm like, absolutely true. That is absolutely true, because I just don't think that vibration. I don't, and I wish I knew exactly what it was, but I can't figure it out.
Right.
It's any Walmart.
Yes.
You walk in and then you just feel this dread. Like, I just want to hurry up and get out of here. I want to get what I get and then get out of here.
Yeah, me too.
And
Yep.
and I thought going to hospitals and things like that were bad.
Yeah.
Walmart is I think the number one on my list to try and avoid.
Sure.
But unfortunately, I live in a small town. It's growing. I have to say that it's growing, but Walmart is the place to go.
Yeah. Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
Same here. I'm in a very small town. It's like 12,000 people, but yeah. Deb Varner, who's a psychic that's been on the show many times, she's a wonderful friend of mine. And she said Kmart used to be the same way for her. So that's interesting as well. I don't recall feeling that at Kmart, but I really never went there much as a kid. And now they're just not around. And then one more comment in there. In the show, the chat rather, Sasquatch Chronicles West says, I shop at Walmart, but I'm not making Paranormal Portal type money. Whatever, dude. Whatever.
I was going to say $0. Is that what we're making? That's what I make.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you could make less than me. Let's just put it that way. But
well, the thing about it is that the money that we make from our YouTube channel, which is our biggest one, I would say. I mean, we have it on the podcast, which is anywhere you can hear podcasts, you can hear Blondes and Booze. Mm-hmm. But YouTube is the only one that is actually paying any type of bills. And what it does is it affords Chris and I to go to conferences and to go on investigations and to do stuff like that. So that's what we use the money for. It's not a paycheck by any means. It just allows us to be able to do the things that we wouldn't be able to afford.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, and it's great to have a platform and to have, people that are helping to, make those dreams a reality. So that's incredible.
Yeah.
But
yeah, we need those million viewers, subscribers.
we need to get over 100,000 subscribers like Sasquatch Chronicles. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's it. That's what we need right there. So you can send them my way, and I'll be grateful to have them, I promise.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's fascinating. I'm just really kind of blown away with your revelation about Walmart. But when you say you hear them talking, what kind of things? What kind of things do they say? Now, and the reason I'm asking is because I've often wondered if, let's say, these earthbound spirits they've been here for a while, and you gotta wonder if they're in kind of a state of isolation, if they're really aware of other spirits or whatever. And do they kind of crack? I mean, do they kind of go a little bit sideways? And have you heard those kind of discussions, or are they very normal? Like, hey, I like your hair, or something like that.
Very rare do I hear them actually talking to me. I mean, it has happened. talking to me, but more or less it's like talking to themselves or amongst the group they're in, or somebody beside them, or they're talking to somebody that I can't hear. Most of the time the conversations don't involve me,
Oh,
but I
okay.
can hear them having conversations.
Do they sound like
kind of like
normal? Do they?
kind of like what was it last week? Last week it was a woman talking about her red pants and how she couldn't find her red pants.
Oh, yeah. That sounds a little mental, right? I mean, and
Right.
I'm not meaning that in a disparaging way, but I mean it's just like that. The red pants are the most important thing she can think of, And it's like, well,
Well, and the thing is that, I don't see a lot of women wearing red pants these
true,
days.
true.
So it makes me kind of wonder, what time frame is she coming from?
Yeah.
I mean, it could be from anywhere. Like I said, these spirits that I hear, I don't know a lot about them. All I hear is like you're eavesdropping on somebody.
Right.
That's what it seems like to me, is I'm eavesdropping. And it is kind of funny sometimes because you hear some really hilarious stuff. Like I said, the red pants thing, I was like, red pants. I almost turned around and said, who wears red pants anymore?
What is this?
You know,
The 70s called. They want their pants back.
right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it could be the 80s, the 90s. I don't know. I mean, she didn't specify if it was like dress pants or anything. So I was like, who wears red pants?
Right.
I don't know.
That's hilarious. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So it is kind of maybe a little goofy, but it is interesting too that you've heard that. Well, at least it seems as if they're talking to somebody. Do you often hear more than one voice, or is it usually just a person that seems to be having a discussion with someone else that you can't hear?
It's all of the above.
Okay.
It's all of the above. Sometimes it sounds like they're having a conversation with themselves. Like I talk to myself quite a bit when I'm out, just to remind myself what I need to do so I can get out of Walmart.
Hurry.
And sometimes I can hear a complete conversation. Now, sometimes it's very audible and you can hear what they're saying, and then sometimes it's just like a muted conversation. But yet, it's like they're whispering, but they're right with you. They're right behind you, right beside you. They're there with you as you're walking around, and it's very strange, very strange.
Yeah.
My brother is in the hospital, or well, he actually just got out today, so that's good news.
Yeah.
And I didn't hear a lot of conversations going on because he was in ICU for 4 days. So, pretty much all you hear is the beeping.
Right.
And it was very quiet because they had him in a corner room in the back of the hospital in the ICU unit, which was super quiet back there. And I didn't hear a lot of conversations, but what I did hear is a lot of, I guess it's like a moaning sound.
Oh.
Like, like not a cry for help, but just kind of like somebody who's in pain, somebody who, just, I don't know, they didn't want to be there, or I don't know. I don't know. But hospitals are very strange for me. Just because there's so much emotion that is in hospitals that I have a hard time staying in hospitals a lot. And it has nothing to do with spirits or anything. It's just the total energy level that is in hospitals.
I hate them.
I mean, if you're sensitive, I'm sure a lot of people out there that are listening and are in chat, if you're sensitive, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It's just, it puts you in a different state of mind. You could walk in there and you could be happy, and then all of a sudden your mood just changes and you become very somber, very quiet, very withdrawn, sometimes sad. It's really strange.
Yeah.
And even when I've investigated abandoned hospitals, asylums, things like that, like Waverly Hills, the one in Kentucky.
Sure.
That one right there, I was sad.
Yeah.
just completely sad because, I mean, Waverly Hills was the whole tuberculosis hospital, and they thought that the fresh air was going to cure these people, and it just didn't. And they had, people just dying by the handfuls every day. And they were trying to get them out, and they were trying to not disrupt other patients because they didn't want them to lose hope.
Right.
And it was just the whole feeling in there was just sad, just very, very sad.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, I was at St. Ignatius over in Washington State, and that had the same. Well, I don't know if it had the same vibe. I've not been to Waverly Hills, but it did definitely have that sad, empty, hollow, mourning kind of thing cooking there, and it gets heavy. It gets really heavy. But Rachel Gets It Right has a question in the chat and says, do you sometimes hear the spirit's last words if some of them are trapped in the trauma of their final moments?
I have no way of knowing if it is.
Okay.
Because I mean, it might be something residual.
Right.
Some kind of leftover energy or something. I don't know. There's no way to know. Mm-hmm. It's very sad to think that maybe I have.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
But there is really no way to know. There's really no way to know, and it is very, very sad, very sad. I went to, gosh, I've been so many places. Emmaus Village, it's in Marthasville, Missouri. And this place is just, it's buildings upon buildings, and they're super huge. And it was a whole lot of things, throughout the years.
Yeah.
But one of the buildings was an asylum, and it had never been investigated. And I was one of the first people to get in there. I think I was the second group to ever get in there. Oh. And that one was a little different. Only because I think that we have to kind of teach the spirits, or ghosts, or however you want to refer to it. You have to kind of teach them how to communicate with you. Mm. And in this instance, I think they were just super happy that somebody was actually seeing them and hearing them and recognizing them, that they have they've sat in that one particular area for so long without any communication that when somebody finally came in, it was a whole new world for them. They're like, all right, bring it on.
It's
really like, bring on that little light doohickey thing, whatever that is.
Bring out the toys with the lights on them. Yeah.
Yeah, bring the toys, bring them on. And I think that's the only place that I've been to in a while that I didn't feel that overwhelming sadness or, I always try to basically protect myself when I go into these locations. You kind of have to take that frame of mind. It's like you've got to build up to, they're not going to affect me like that. They're going to I have to set boundaries, because if you don't set your boundaries when you go in, you could have a really great night or a bad night. Yeah. It's a toss up. But if you set your boundaries on what you're going to allow and how you're going to allow them to affect you, then you're going to be better off.
That's perfectly said. Yeah. Phil Funk is in the chat, and he says, that's weird. My mom is in the ICU currently. And yesterday she was complaining about wanting to go home and not wanting to be there. And yeah, I've unfortunately spent quite a bit of time in portions of my life in hospitals. And and I'm with you. I literally can't wait to get out of there when I have to be there. And it's interesting what you're talking about, the moaning, because I had an experience about like that. I think it was last February, a year ago, this month, I think. And I was kind of in and out, and I wasn't medicated. I was just exhausted because my body was just really sick, and
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of in and out, but I kept hearing this woman moaning. It's like, like
Yeah.
that. And I talked to the nurse when she came in. I said, "Why does that lady keep moaning?" And she goes, "What lady? What are you hearing?" I said, "Somebody keeps moaning. Somebody keeps moaning."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, I'm not hearing that." I was like, "Oh," and I thought about it, but that, I'm not somebody that I don't ever recall hearing spirits before, but maybe because I was in that fugue state myself, that I was maybe
Uh-huh.
disconnected enough or open enough that I could hear it. But it would really brought back memories when you said that. I was like, oh man, yeah, I remember that. I remember what that's like to hear that. It was really excruciating to hear because
Mm-hmm.
somebody desperately wanted help, but it's like nobody was helping. And
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a person until I talked to the nurse, and it quit soon after that. But it really made me feel sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't mention anything to my brother. I mean, he would just say, "Oh, there's my creepy sister again." You know, there's my creepy sister.
Okay.
So I didn't mention anything to him, but I did talk to my mom about it. My mom has been my biggest supporter,
Uh huh.
um, my whole entire life. She's the one that taught me when I was very little that it's okay to be different.
Mm.
That she sees things and she hears it too. So she made me feel very comfortable growing up.
Oh, cool.
Um, right. And I mean, yes, I'm going to say this and nobody hate me, please. But my mother showed me actually how to use an Ouija board
Mm.
and how to close it properly
Oh,
and, to do all the right things with your intent.
yeah.
So I never had any problems with them.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah.
Uh, a lot of people say that they have the problems and this happened or that happened or I'm never touching one. I never had a problem. I never assumed that they were the person they said they were.
Right. Yeah. That,
You know, she's always said you got to keep your blocks up and you've got to make sure that when you're speaking, blah 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 blah. All the good stuff, all the good stuff. I've never had a bad experience with one. Um, but to go on to talking about that, I don't think that the it's any different to me than if you were to use the spirit box
sure. Okay.
or just openly talk. I think you're opening that window no matter what you're doing. When you acknowledge you're opening the window.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, your intent has to be there to say, hey, this is my boundary. You're not coming any closer.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
That's it. And there's been a few places that I have gone where I had to actually put a wall up, a boundary up, because they were busy. Like they would pull my hair, pull my shirt, and it's very strange how this happened. It was at Brushy Mountain Penitentiary in Tennessee.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And there was just I think like 10 of us in this whole entire prison.
Nice.
And we went out by twos and we would all take a different building and we'd go investigate that and then we would change after a while. But they were poking the top of my head. And the strangest thing is the place is open during the day and it's wide open. You can go in there and just tour around.
Mm-hmm.
And read all the stuff about the place and all of this other kind of stuff. And I was still getting poked in the head during the day. And when I got back there that night, it was twice as bad. And it got to the point where they were pulling my hair. And the funniest thing, I got to tell you this story because it's really kind of cool. And it's because they say that they used to use cigarettes to barter. And that's not unheard of.
Mm-hmm.
we've all heard the stories about that in prison. And they said, but they're very aggressive. So, if you have cigarettes, you can go, and there's actually a cell block. It's cell block C, and you can go up there. I think it's on the third floor there with all the cells there. And you could actually light a cigarette, put it in there, and actually watch something, we're just going to say something, actually drag off of that cigarette. We were watching the filter turn yellow, and we were watching a faint glow of the cherry of it.
Yep.
As it was smoking.
Oh, wow. Yikes.
Yeah, it was very, very strange.
That's really interesting.
But when it first started, it was me and this other lady, and we're up there, and I'm going to mention her name. I'm not going to mention her name because God bless her, she was scared. We were sitting in one of the jail cells, and I had, just a really cheap pack of cigarettes. I use it as a trigger object. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, I've got this cigarette. Do you want a cigarette? You better come smoke this cigarette. And I kept saying it. And finally, I lit the cigarette, and I was putting it down. And as I was putting it down, I said, if you're not coming to smoke this cigarette, I'm going to smoke it. And right at that moment, you can hear somebody it sounded like they were scuffling up out of the bed. It sounded like they had slippers on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like house slippers. Mm-hmm. And they were walking on cement. So that's what it sounded like, these slippers. And you could actually hear this coming down to where we were in the cell.
No. Oh, no.
Exactly. That's what I said. So she was sitting, these cells are super small, and she was sitting on one of the stools, which are actually bolted into the wall so they wouldn't have anything to throw at each other. Right. They were bolted into the wall, and then there was this, the bed was there, just the frame, the metal frame, and they came down on the chains. So there was that. And she jumped off of that stool and jumped right into my lap. And then she pushed me over, so I was closest to the door as this thing was coming. And I said, what do you mean? Why am I sitting next to the door? Wait, what? And I just looked at her and I said, okay, let's watch the cigarette. So we watched it a little bit, and you can hear a little bit of scuffling going on. You can hear some knocks on some of the cell doors, mm-hmm. which was fascinating to me. I had audio going this whole time. It was fascinating. Wow. And then she's like, I do not feel uncomfortable. She goes, I don't feel comfortable in here. When somebody says that to me on any investigation, I take them and I go.
Yeah.
If you feel uncomfortable, I will take you and we will go. I don't leave anybody in a situation where they feel uncomfortable or feel afraid. Mm-hmm. So we had gone outside and we were walking around. Well, I took that cheap pack of cigarettes, I put it in my back pocket, and we're standing there talking. Next thing you know, the pack of cigarettes slides out of my pocket and lands on the ground.
No. Okay.
I'm thinking, okay, all right. Maybe I turned, maybe it wasn't all the way in, whatever. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to put them in my front pocket. So we walked along a little bit, and they were in my front pocket. Next thing you know, they came out of my front pocket and dropped to the ground.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was one of the weirdest things that I had ever encountered. And I said at that point, I'm going to go put these cigarettes up. I'm done with it. Because that's all they wanted was these cigarettes, and I said, that's enough. I'm done. I'm not going to put these up. So I went and put them up, and then, continued the whole night without them cigarettes in my pocket. I said, oh, no, we're not doing this. And I think I still have that same pack of cigarettes in my investigation bag. I always keep them in there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because you never know. Trigger items, I like to use trigger items. Mm-hmm. It sometimes it brings out the curiosity in some of the spirits hanging around. They are like, Sometimes it may be a shot of whiskey. Sometimes it may be a cigarette. Um, I've had it sometimes where it was a pair of shoes,
Right. Right.
a pair of high-heeled shoes, believe it or not. And they really like those. So, I mean, it could be anything. It could be anything. And I look up the history when I go into an investigation. I look up the history, but I don't want to know what the hot spots are. You know what I mean? I don't want to be looking or just hyper focused on the things that people have already seen,
Right.
because it probably won't appear to me, or I probably won't see the same thing.
Right. Yeah.
So I need to look at for my own experiences and open myself up to see what I see. But yeah, I still carry those cigarettes to this day. And I think it's been like 4 years now that they've been in my backpack.
You better not light them. They'll probably go up like a match. Like, he's so dry.
Probably need to leave them somewhere.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh, that's funny. But it is strange. And it sounds like really profound activity. Now, you had mentioned that you see spirits as well.
Yes, I do.
Is that just as common as hearing them, or which?
Yes.
It is. Okay.
Yes.
What?
Yeah. I'll hear them more, I guess, than I see them, but I see them quite frequently.
Okay.
I had a job in a warehouse the warehouse had been there for 50 years. And I had just looked up, and I'm grabbing a hold of this box, and I'm moving this box, and right in front of me, I see a person standing there, and I remember exactly what they look like. I remember they had dark hair. They had a very full dark mustache. Could have been Hispanic descent. They had one of those old white painter's hat on.
Oh.
Do you remember those? By any chance? It's like a painter's hat. It's white, and he had a pair of overalls on. And I seen him there, and I thought, I've never seen him before. He looks very out of place. So I turn around to look for my boss, and then I turn around and he's gone.
Huh.
And I talked to my boss and everything, and he'd been there probably about 20 years, and he goes, "No, that doesn't sound familiar to me or anybody that looked like that." So I went to one of the owners, and they just happened to come in the warehouse, and it was just by accident, because they don't come into the warehouse very often at all. And I said, "Hey, I've got a question for you." And then I told him, and I said, "Hey," he had a dark hair, wearing a painter's hat, very full mustache, wearing overalls, da 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 da. And he said, "There's a guy that used to work here that sounds just like that. He'd always wear that white painter's cap."
Oh, bizarre.
Yeah.
So he's still there.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's still hanging around. He's still hanging around.
No.
And I was like, because that painter's hat is what's very unique about the whole thing.
Yeah.
Not many people wear. Anybody at all today wears those? I don't think so.
No, probably not many. The reason I was asking you about that, I was wondering, do you generally see them as you would like any normal person, or have you seen them where they look like, what the hell happened to you, where you're seeing them all mangled or damaged, or has that happened to you, that you're perceiving them, possibly?
That has not happened to me.
Okay.
That has not happened to me at all. What has happened, though, I will tell you, is that normally they will manifest how they want you to see them. So, say a 90-year-old grandmother comes to me, or I see her somewhere, but she wants me to perceive her as a younger version of her, where she felt her best.
Yeah.
She may manifest into that. It's I've never seen the bad side of things.
Okay.
And I hope never to do that. That sounds pretty scary. I don't think I want to do that, but they usually manifest themselves the way they want you to view them.
Sure.
From my own experience. Now, I don't know about anybody else. But I feel that if that's the way they feel and they feel good that way, my goodness, show yourself to me just like that. Show me how you want me to see you. But I've seen manifestations in different ways. I've seen full-bodied, full-colored apparitions where you would think that somebody was standing there right across from you, and you wouldn't know the difference.
Wow.
I've also seen them where they are the typical misty white, sure. the kind of like I said, the kind of misty, wavy kind of
yep.
Manifestation that most people think of when they hear ghosts. That's what they think of.
Yep.
I've seen black masses that don't resemble human form, and then I've seen them where they do resemble human form.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of people, I can't tell you how many stories I've heard about the lady in white. The lady in white.
Yeah.
And I keep trying to think why is there a lady in white everywhere? That's a crazy thing that I can't wrap my head around. It's like, why are they all white? Why are they all white all the time? You'll hear about the lady in white on the stairs, or the lady in white in the sitting room, or, you'll hear that.
Yes.
But this theory that I've been kind of tossing around is maybe they're just void of color at that point. Oh. Maybe they're just void of color, that the dress you're really seeing is coming across to you white, but that actual dress might have been blue. Might have been red, green, yellow. But it's just coming across in that specific type of manifestation.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. That's a great point. It just could be just whatever they can only manifest within a certain degree, maybe. And so
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. And color is usually when ghosts are seen, they're always, they're so pale. People largely we talk about how it looked like a person, but it was so pale. And sometimes you'll see flannel or plaid come up, or, sometimes it's a print dress, but usually you're right. Usually they're just really unremarkable attire that they're observed in, and, solid white or, gray. Yeah. I've heard black, many different things, but yeah, that's a great point. Yeah. Color is a different mechanization, really. So
yeah, I think you have to be very powerful to have a full apparition. Yeah. Full body, full color. I think you have to be you'd have to have a lot of energy, I would assume, to achieve that, because it doesn't happen a lot. For me, it's happened maybe 2 or 3 times. I was lucky enough to capture a photo with one in it. Mm-hmm. And I'll have to show that to you at some time. But she looked as real as you and I.
Wow.
That there was nobody in that hallway. And the best thing about the photo is it was actually a photo catch of a 1 in a million shot. Because you can see I'm taking a picture out a window, and I'm in a hallway, but there's nobody in the hallway behind me. There's nothing. There's no furniture. There's no pictures, no flowers. There's nothing. The only thing that was in the hallway was my daughter. And because I was taking a picture outside, I said, "Hey, stand behind me," because I told her, I said, my big head's taking up enough room. I don't want to see your glare. So just stand behind me while I take this picture. Mm-hmm. She said, okay. But if you look on the one side of me, you can see her back there. And she's kind of got her head turned and she's looking down, but she's in period clothing. Oh, she's got her hair like it's parted down the middle, and it's very in an updo, very tight to her head. You can see that she has like pearls on her neck, and it kind of looked like a shawl or something the ladies would wear when they were out. Just a cute little, shawl. And it was very, I don't know. It was pretty. I don't know how to say it. It was very beautiful the way the way she looked. Oh. And I kept looking at it and looking at it and looking at it. And I said, there was nobody there. My daughter was standing behind me. I didn't have her in the picture. And because you can just see the outline of my hair because I had a light above me. I'm looking out the window at nighttime. So there was light in the hallway.
Okay.
So you could see my glare in the window, but you couldn't see my facial features. You can see my outline. And so I stuck her behind me. But I kept going, oh my gosh, this is crazy. There was nobody there. I can't imagine. This was right outside our hotel room. Actually, this was at the Crescent Hotel in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. Oh. And there was nobody in our hallway. And we're just right outside. So then I'm looking at it and I take the picture downstairs and I'm like asking the front desk lady, hey, this might sound crazy, but is there anybody in the hotel that looks like this, dressed like this, anywhere? Mm-hmm. And she kind of looked at me and she just kind of shook her head a little bit. She goes, yeah, I've seen her before. And I said, really? And I said, okay. She says, you need to go look at the picture over there. There's a little alcove with a desk, and they have the pictures of the people that used to visit there and all kinds of things. She goes, there's a picture on that top shelf you need to go look at. I said, okay. So I went over there and I'm looking at that picture and it looks just like her.
Oh, wow.
Just like her. So I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I got a full body, full color apparition. I was so excited, I was like, yes. So I have a lot of friends in the paranormal community, and a lot of them verify these pictures that are being taken. And that way you can get them authenticated and they're real. So nobody can tell you they're not, right?
Sure.
So I had a friend get the picture, and 20 minutes later, he messaged me back and he said, hey, he goes, I know you've seen her on the left side. He goes, but look on the right side.
What's on the right?
So I got to looking at the picture, and there is another apparition on the other side of me that is in that white, misty type manifestation stage. I don't know if they were popping in or popping out, but they were right there at that moment. Oh, you can plainly see they're wearing some kind of hat, and glasses, and not as beautiful and as clear as the other one, but it's there. It's right on the other side of me. I have got two full-bodied apparitions and two different types of manifestations on each side of me.
Oh, wow. That's bizarre.
So then I had gone back down there. I love Eureka Springs, so I go there quite a bit. It's a very haunted town. I love it. So I went back down there again, and I was talking to these people, just so happens. And I was going down to the Park Basin Hotel, which is another haunted location there. And the taxi driver, I was talking to him about the picture and blah, blah, blah. And he says, what did the hat look like again? So I showed him the picture that I had. And he says, you know what that reminds me of? He said, back in the 1920s, 1930s, that looked like a fireman's hat. The same style of hat a fireman would wear at that time.
Oh. Was there?
I said, well, that makes sense.
Was there ever a fire in this place?
No, not in this particular place. No, there wasn't. But they've always got to come check things out, and when it was wired and all the other kind of stuff. You got people coming in and out all the time. Sure. But there is an old church that was there. There may have been other buildings around. You just never know what's happening. I never could find the connection of the firemen, though.
That is interesting. Yeah. Those photo bombs seem almost. I mean, they've got to be intentional, right? I mean, this isn't just the 1 in a million, chance. It's like they seem to want to be seen. Would you agree?
I do agree.
Yeah.
I do. I absolutely 100% agree. Otherwise, I don't think they would allow themselves to be seen at all.
Right. Huh. Rachel gets it right as a comment in the chat, or a question, actually. It says, have you ever visited a museum or an art gallery and heard anything from paintings or large relics, small cabins rebuilt as an exhibit, or in a flea market, do you hear or see attachments?
Absolutely, 100% yes.
Okay.
Yes. I can't tell you what thing holds the attachment, but I know that some of these things have had attachments. Now, Brent, you're coming to the conference,
Yes.
this September. Okay. So we're going to be investigating a museum. Okay. This one has a lot of things going on with it. I don't know what's exactly holding the attachment, but there are things going on. There's a lot of things that could hold an attachment in there.
Yeah.
We'll just take this for instance. We did a show on Blondes and Booze, and I was dared for me and this other person to sleep in the most haunted spot in that museum. And I said, bet, I'll do that. So I did. So I did. I don't have any problem sleeping in haunted locations. Give me 20 minutes and sit still and I'll be sleeping. Yeah. I got to watch that. But ghost investigating is kind of like watching paint dry. Sometimes nothing happens and you're just sitting there. So you got to have good company.
Right.
Just somebody to talk to. Well, anyway, so before we had gone to bed that night, we had heard a crash of something that it was big and it fell on these wood floors. But we looked around and we saw nothing. There was nothing. I got it on audio. I had 2 audio recorders going at the same time and caught it on both. And we could not find the source. Nobody came running. Nobody said anything because we had people that were downstairs. There is an apartment in there that the curator stays in sometimes. And that's all the way down at one end. And then we had a somebody else that was sleeping all the way down in the other end in the chapel. Now, this place used to be a poor farm, so there's a whole lot of heartache and things that go with this. But that wasn't the craziest thing. So in the morning, I wake up, and of course I'm good. I slept great, and I hear somebody downstairs walking around, and I'm thinking, ooh, somebody's getting up making coffee. And I'm like, oh, that's good. I would like some coffee, And I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to go downstairs. And you have to walk down the flight of stairs to go to the bathroom. You have to walk down and go all the way down the hallway to the bathroom. Well, I looked into the chapel, and that person was sleeping. So I walked into the bathroom. But as soon as I shut that door and started walking towards the stall, I could hear heavy, heavy footsteps, not running, but coming at a fast pace right to the door. And you hear them coming all the way down the hallway until they get to that door, to the bathroom, and they stop. So at that point, I'm like, are they going to move? Hello? Nobody answered.
Uh-huh.
So I end up doing my business, washing my hands, and I walk back out. So I look back down in the chapel to see if, that person's still sleeping. They are. Then I walk all the way down to the apartment where everybody else was sleeping in the apartment. I go into the apartment. Everybody's out like a light.
Huh.
There is nobody awake in this whole entire building.
Oh, no.
At all.
That's a little creepy.
And I'm thinking, somebody chased me to the bathroom. But this is a broad daylight, first thing in the morning. I'm thinking that's kind of crazy.
And there was
crazy.
There's probably no coffee then either, right?
No, I had to go make some. I was upset, but
Yeah.
But this museum holds a lot of memories, not only from it's not only from the county that it's in, because a lot of people bring their stuff, which is absolutely awesome. Mm-hmm. But they have a lot of Indian artifacts. They have a lot of Civil War artifacts. They've got a lot of old high school band uniforms. They've got even, I don't know if anyone would know, but the mourning dresses that the ladies would wear when their loved one passed away, and all of these kinds of energies. There's all kinds of energies going around in this place. And I absolutely believe that a few of these things have attachments. They really do.
All right, everybody, that's going to conclude part 1 of our show this week. Again, this is a 2-part episode, so stay tuned for part 2, which will be releasing in just a few days. So watch for that to happen. But thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll talk to you in just a couple days. Take care of yourselves. All right, everybody, that's going to wrap it up for us today. So hope you guys enjoyed the show, and thank you again so much for all your love and support. And remember, if you want to follow the Paranormal Portal, probably the easiest way is to head over to paranormalportal.net. And that's the homepage for the Paranormal Portal. And you'll find links to all of our different social media and sites and information about the shows, including our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/paranormalportal. Or just look for Paranormal Portal on Google or whatever search engine, and you'll find links to our social media such as Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. So we're kind of all over the place, and we're spreading as well as we can. But anyway, thank you so much for the love and support. Y'all take care, and remember, we love y'all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other, help each other out, find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. Until next time.